Yeah! All right, I got the red dot. We're recording.
All right.
Hatbilly podcast number 4. My guest is Tommy Thomason, aka Roscoe Rooster, and talented guy. Even one of the more talented guys in Mercer County. Definitely the most talented chicken in Mercer County. How you doing today, Tom?
Hey, I'm doing great there, Jake. I'm just glad to be here. Here sit and get to talk some baseball. I ain't got to do that in a long time.
That's good.
It just feels good to get to actually have an identity now. Instead of being the Princeton baseball team. That's why I was scared we was going to be. I thought it was going to be just like Washington, but
yeah, a lot of teams struggling with that these days. I was pleasantly surprised that Cleveland got to hang on to the Indians for another year. We were sweating that one, but yeah. That was my first question, so you led right into it perfectly. Why don't you talk about the process of choosing the name, the Whistlepigs, and what are your thoughts on it? What was your role in the whole thing, and what can people expect this year in the new Appalachian League season?
Well, with the Whistlepig name, Danny Singleton, who's our GM now here in Princeton, he told the story there about when he first came here 4 years ago. And I didn't realize it. More he told the story, I was thinking back about clubhouse days about this. But when he was going across the parking lot at Princeton High School, Princeton High School is connected to Mercer County Technical Education Center.
Right.
You would have groundhogs running the parking lot, right? So when he was telling this story, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what was when I'd go to the dumpster and throw the trash in the dumpster. And as soon as the trash hits and you see these little furry things jumping out all over the place at, 2, 3 in the morning, they were groundhogs. So he got the thinking when, all this happened and the Rays left, what could be a funny groundhog name, since groundhogs are running the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
They were
already the unofficial mascot there.
Right. So. They's trying to take my job and I didn't even know it. But so he went on Google and looked up funny animal names, and Whistlepig was there. And a lot of the old timers used it. When it got to me, when they was going to tell me, we had maybe 4 or 5 of us in a room, and they's going over what's going on. And they said that we're trying to get the name Whistlepig. And of course I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me? The whole time they're telling me, that they didn't say the story then, they're, oh, we want to be the Whistlepigs. And this guy, oh yeah, I like that. I'm pushing for that. I think, well, what is all this?
It's a little bit out there, which, in minor league baseball that happens. And, I guess they were trying to go the route of, I remember a couple years ago when the Trash Pandas came out down in Alabama, everybody in minor league baseball lost it. Love it or hate it, everybody was talking about it. So I see the idea behind just getting something way out there, but also it is Appalachian, right? Like you said, the old folks say it. That's, if I hadn't been hanging out with my grandpa, I would not know what a Whistlepig is.
Right. And like I said, a lot of the younger generation, of course, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews, good or bad about it. And then, I'm just going with the flow. I'm like I said, I'm just happy to be a part of it, still be involved in baseball. Like I said, there after 2020, of course, COVID knocked all that out. You're thinking, okay, maybe 2019 might have been it. We didn't know it.
And if there had been that swan song season for the Appalachian League, I would, I feel like it would have given people a little more closure, and I was personally looking forward to it. At least one last ride. It's got that feel now. It's for the wrestling reference. It's got that Undertaker one last ride feel. That would have been the right send off for a league that means so much to so many people in the area. But I'm glad to have it still, and I'm sure you are. So
Oh yes. Oh yes.
it is what it is. Now, just for the record, and so the folks at home know, the Roscoe costume is not in jeopardy of becoming a groundhog, correct?
No, see, it was also talked to me that I was going to be doing more in the community. Get to do a lot. But when I first took over Roscoe, it was Roscoe Drug Free Rooster, and I would go to different schools and we'd talk about being drug free.
Yeah.
And I believe that concept is going to come back, and I'm kind of glad that get more in the community. I used to have a anti-bullying campaign once upon a time, and I went to schools about anti-bullying. So we're going to probably do more with Roscoe doing that. I probably. I'm fingers crossed I'm going to keep the microphone during the games and still give stuff away. Maybe have somebody else be a groundhog, but no, I don't feel like nothing's going to happen with Roscoe. It's too loved in the community.
Now, since you've touched on the history of the Roscoe suit, correct me if I'm wrong. I did a little bit of research. So when Princeton was the Princeton Reds, he was Roscoe the Red Rooster.
Correct.
And that was about when it was exchanging hands and the Rays organization was getting started. That's about the time you jumped in, or give or take a few years maybe. And then the I guess were you affiliated with Dare or anything like that, or was that your own campaign that you were organizing?
When I first got talked into becoming Roscoe, I was sitting in a parking lot at Walmart. I just got done being the club.
That's where all the good stories start, man.
Oh yeah, that's where everything happens, is the parking lot at Walmart, right? Because everybody shops. I go shopping in a rooster suit at Walmart. Yeah, but it started with I just got the call. I thought I was done with pro ball after I left the clubhouse, being a clubhouse manager, because I got to where when you work 18 to 20-hour days and you have so many home games straight, then you have where you go to Bluefield, Pulaski and come back.
Yeah.
You get kind of wore out. And then have to go to St. Petersburg for spring training, and you get tiresome. So I thought, okay, I'm done. And Jim Holland gave me a call, and he says, hey, we just signed a deal with Bubble Yum Bubblegum, and they want the mascot to go out with the kids and be a judge of how big of a bubble these kids can blow with Bubble Yum Bubblegum. The winner gets a T-shirt and a pack of bubble gum or something like that. It's some kind of little prize pack.
Yeah.
And he says, you don't have to do it for one inning. I said, well, why in the world am I going to put on a suit, go out one inning, and then go back, change out of it, and be done? I said, I'm going to work a whole game. So I ended up working the whole game. And this was I don't know if you remember, but Roscoe used to look like the San Diego Chicken. This was an old yellow suit. The beak had one big wire that kept hitting me in my teeth. The dentist loved it because they keep working on my front teeth, So after that season, Jim calls me because I figured it was a one and done thing and I was done again. So after that season, Jim calls me. He says, hey, a guy by the name of Greg Puckett that has Mercer County drug free, he's buying a new rooster suit, but he says he don't want anybody else in it but you. He wants you to play the part and you do everything, and he's going to take you on tour. I was like, okay.
You must have made a heck of an impression.
So I must have did pretty good, because that, like I said, we're talking almost 20 years later and I'm still running around in a chicken outfit. So
yeah. And congratulations on that. It's to the outsider, it may seem like it's an easy gig, but I'm sure there's a ton of prep work in that, and just, putting on a smile and having your best attitude and cheering the team on, that's tough when you've done it that long, I'm sure.
Yeah, anymore now. Prep work is putting on spandex, eat a hot dog, drink a Gatorade, and go out there. But
yeah, I'm sure compared to being the clubhouse manager, it is an easy gig when you look at it that way. But
right, yeah. I mean, you go out and entertain people for 3 hours and go home, or you sit around washing jock straps. But it's kind of hard to choose between those two professions.
Give me some of the players and personalities who were around in your days in the Rays organization as a clubhouse manager. Who sticks out to you back in around the late 90s? Who'd you have a good relationship with?
Oh man, Milt Hill, which was a pitching coach the first couple of years. He's now a scout with the Rays. He left the Rays for a little while. He came back. I seen him in 2019. He pitched for the Braves and the Reds. When I played softball, I wear number 39 because of Milt Hill. And he didn't believe me. I had to take my softball jersey and said, look, I wear 39 because of you. So he got a kick out of that. Milt, he is special. Charlie Montoya was the first manager in 97. Great guy. He's now with the Toronto Blue Jays, the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. He's a really great guy. Steve Henderson, call him Hindu, played for the Mets, the Mariners, the A's. We call each other every Christmas. Real special guy to me. A lot of good stories about Hindu, me and him on the road. Probably some of them, I don't know if we got, what's the legal term, the time limit on the legal terms.
Yeah.
But you got Hindu, and then, of course, Edwin Rodriguez. Oh, my gosh. Me and Edwin spent 5 years on the road together. So many Edwin stories. They used to kid me and say that he was my Puerto Rican daddy because, I mean, we toured up and down the highways and byways. And when I was his clubhouse manager and I'd go on the road with him, he would never say, hey, on the middle day, we're going to go find a mall somewhere. He would get the bus driver to drive us to a mall somewhere on the second day of a road tour. I would be up and sit and wait for that 11:30 knock on the door and be dressed. And he said, okay, come on. So I'd be dressed ready. He wouldn't even tell me we're going anywhere. He just knock on the door. Let's go. Okay. So that was fun times with him. Jim Hoff, that guy, he passed away a couple years ago, but he was real special to me. I got to catch for him some when he would hit fungo during BP, and I'd get the catch, and he caught me off guard one time. He said, Tom, you wearing a cup? I was like, nope. And he whacked me real good. So the next day I wore my cup.
Classic. Yeah, that's a classic right there.
So that I miss him so bad. And Mitch Lukovich, he was director of minor leagues with the Rays, the one that signed helped me sign on my major league contract when I was the equipment manager. Got to go to the big team. A lot of special memories with him. When I went back down there in 2005, wanted me to come through clubhouse. I was with this older gentleman he didn't believe me I was a major leaguer or I was a clubhouse manager. I just told him, I said, we're going to this clubhouse. And he says, dude, you're going to get us arrested. I said, no, let's go. And then there's Mitch at the door. I'll come on in, it's taking him around, showed him my old locker and stuff,
Yeah.
So I had Mitch, Tom Foley, which is the third base coach for Tampa Bay for a long time. He was director of minor leagues, the first director of minor leagues for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. A lot of good stories with him. We was going to Pulaski one time and he was singing Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again. And he never will admit it. We sat there singing this song going down 81 and he never would admit it, but I hit him with it every now and then.
Hey, Brittany, for whatever it's worth, Brittany makes the best road anthems. When I was traveling around playing in a band, which your experience in baseball, it just reminds me so much. It's really the same thing. Hanging out in Walmart, borderline as much as you're even welcome there. You got a 2-3 hour gig and then it's back on the road. And on your off day, it's wide open. Do whatever you can or can get away with. But we would going down the road, we would sing her little lesser known hit, but Lucky. I think it was off the same album or the album after that. That song, that's the only Britney song that just has withstood the test of time for me. You put that on, I'm jamming to that. You say what you want. That's a well-written tune right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that I'm a sucker for Lucky. It was her, I think it was Britney's most vulnerable moment. It was kind of her depression song about, oh, I'm so famous, why am I still sad? And that hit like right at the same time as all that emo punk, and it just, I don't know, it works for me.
When she's shaving her head too, huh?
Yeah, and then she went off the rails a little bit, but you know, all the evidence was there that was going to happen in the song Lucky 5 to 6 years before that, you know.
Right. That's
when
wild.
you look back on Britney, I think her parents were just so money hungry once she started kind of making it, that I think it drove her off the edge. I don't think her relationship with her family is too great right now, from what I understand.
No, and that's understandable too.
So it's a blessing just being a small town show business guy. You know, you don't have all the pressures of being Britney Spears, but
right.
you're still in the limelight.
Still in the limelight, you know. Used to go out and have dinner with the family, and somebody come, well, how's the ball team? Yeah, how's the ball team look like? We hadn't even had the draft yet. You know, I don't know. Yeah,
that sounds like a question, an ill-timed question that I would ask somebody too.
I like, you know, it's February or March. You know, we don't know.
We hope we make the right decisions.
Yeah. But who knows?
Back for just a minute, since we're talking about you being Roscoe the drug-free rooster, this is maybe the heaviest part of the show, but I was wondering what's your message to kids these days growing up in a place like Southern West Virginia, where the drug problem is what it is, you know? What do you say to kids who are these days growing up around that stuff, and it's really easy to be influenced by, you know, what your parents and your neighbors and whoever's doing it? How are you going to spin that to kids, and, you know, really make them trust in that and believe in themselves and stay clean ultimately?
Right. It's so much like with peer pressure and things like that. And like you say, some of them do see like parents do it or other family members, and it's tough, but it's hard. It's getting harder nowadays to drive that message because of that. But it's one of those things. It's like kind of Edwin told me one time, you know, you talk about like people's destiny, you know, they say, you know, destiny is non-existent. What makes you the person, or what makes you what becomes the person you are, is by the choices in life. Because, you know, you think, you know, if you say, well, you know, later on in life, if you get arrested or something because of drugs or whatever, well, my daddy did it, or my brother did it, or mama did it, you know. No, that's not the reason. You know, you have the choice to say, hey, I am not going to be that person. Yeah, I'm going to be a different person. I'm going to better my life. And that's just, you know, it's just the way you got to get that mindset.
Yeah.
And you have to teach the younger generation.
Sometimes it's not the worst thing to be the black sheep in the family if if you're coherent of the mistakes they're making.
Right.
It's not impossible to turn a new leaf over. And
right.
Yeah. I don't have much more on that. I just wanted to have kind of a sentimental moment about that, because I figured you'd be the best source for that message. But I'm sure when you guys go to write your speech or whatever to the kids, that you'll be able to touch on that and work in the bullying angle too. I mean, with with Roscoe being a babyface wrestler in WVCW and elsewhere on the road, it's easy for him to be a great spokesman against bullying, I feel like. So, because, from a kid's mindset when they're watching wrestling, and this is something I've picked up on with my stepson, he's always just morally aligned with the good guy. He knows he can pick up, even if he doesn't understand all the words that they're saying, you know, some of these heels, if he watches CM Punk knows some pretty big words that a kid doesn't know, but he can tell he's being a jerk.
Right.
And which he's one of my favorite wrestlers, so we kind of butt heads on that. But
I would say, because I think the more when you get older, the more you agree with the heels.
Yeah, that's where I'm at in life now. I'm painted. Feel like I'm painted as the bad guy so much that I'm out there like, yeah, let's ruin this for everybody. Come on.
Exactly.
Because every heel was a baby face who just the wrong guy stepped on his toes. It feels like, you know.
Right. Of course, you know, if I could kill the business a little bit, that's how like just about everybody starts, because you know the heel's one that takes the heat, the baby face comes in and tries to save the day, and that baby face is learning how to be a good heel later on.
Right.
Yeah,
that's why in your, you know, of course I'm going to bring up the Attitude Era, but you know, when you had Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash finally becoming bad guys, that was just something completely new. Like nobody was prepared for that. Right. I mean, on and on and on. I mean, even when Ric Flair became a heel and on and on and on, 40 years of being a babyface, he turns heel. No better script has ever been written, you know.
Right.
So
and that's the best heels too.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is baseball and Rays and wrestling trivia. I'm impressed that I even found this, because this is the perfect question for Tommy Thomason. So according to Wikipedia, we all know how truthful that can be.
Right.
The Tampa Bay Rays have hosted several of the Legends of Wrestling nights. And they were specifically talking about one in 2008, where they actually, a lot of the guys, I guess, a lot of wrestlers live in that Tampa area.
Yes,
and
they do.
Former wrestlers. And they all came in that 2008 one and had a big match. And at the time, Rays player Johnny Gomes, he ran interference for the Nasty Boys, winning them the match. Was this ever televised anywhere? Because I tried to drum this up, but
I don't think it was. I remember Johnny saying something about, because you know Johnny played here in 2000.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. When I was a clubhouse guy, we got to talk wrestling a lot too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it was. I think it was just kind of like a house, what they call a house show.
Okay.
But I remember hearing about it. The guy that plays Raymond, the big league mascot, he's talking about it too. And it was a big night for them down there. Like I say, a lot of those older guys. I think B. Blind Blair is like a city councilman down there.
Oh yeah, that's
so
following in the footsteps of all the great wrestlers who became politicians.
Yeah,
that's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just felt like that was such a specific fact that it's like, this has to be on a DVD somewhere, but you know, I guess it just lives on in the memories of Johnny and the guys who wrestled and the fans who were there. So that might make it even cooler. Or if anybody ever comes up with the tape, that'll be like the biggest bootleg ever in Ray's history. Probably.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
Well, all right. With that said, do you think Roscoe will ever get the call for Legends Night to come whip a few people?
Oh man,
seems perfect.
That would be awesome. They did talk about one time having a mascot battle royal down there, but I don't think it ever happened. And
that's a great idea. You're going to have to hijack that idea and just have it play out in Princeton.
Right. Yeah, but. Man, last time I got thrown over the top rope, I bruised my right hip, and my butt cheek was had a bruise shaped look like Australia there for about 6 weeks.
Ugh.
So yeah, but
so the costume doesn't afford you as much padding as it looks like it does it?
Oh no, I gotta have my own natural padding. That's why you got a 300-pound rooster.
Yeah. I'm sure those bumps are no joke, because I respect anybody who's ever gotten in the ring. I don't think I could do it. You know, I was a basketball player. I was not even a Greco-Roman wrestler. My brother was, and boy, could he whip me any time of the day he wanted to. I start running my mouth. It was never for me. I think I could probably go out there and talk if I had a couple beers in me. But yeah, if y'all ever need a baseball themed ring announcer or something, give me a shout. But I don't know, man. It's admirable what you guys do and put yourselves through just to entertain the fans. The parallel makes so much sense between the professional wrestler and the baseball mascot that I'm surprised there aren't more. You're the only one I know of, but it makes so much sense that I think eventually you're going to inspire some. Maybe you'll get this new group of kids in the new Appalachian League. I'll be looking up to you, I'm sure. Maybe you'll send some inspiration their way.
Oh, that would be awesome. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's tough working in a suit when you're wrestling like that. But yeah, it's like one time I was asked how hard should I get hit with a flagpole. I was like, dude, I've got my spandex, I've got the feathers, I've got the jersey, I've got the helmet. It's like, you going, if I'm going to sell, you're going to have to hit me pretty hard. And it broke the flagpole over my back. So yeah, I sold it.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what do you happen to recall where I could find that match? Is that one that
match would be, it's on somebody filmed it, put it on YouTube. We was at Bluefield's Mountain Festival.
Okay.
And it was an outdoor thing, and it took a bump on that ring. It's like 95 degrees, and that canvas is hot. And I'm thinking I'm going to be like a grilled McChicken sandwich out here if I keep laying on this thing. Then I was in a figure four, sitting there burning and sweating, trying to get to the ropes. It's the wildest day ever. I wrestled 4 times that weekend.
Wow. Stay hydrated.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Middle of the summertime, I guess.
Yeah, summertime, sunburnt, like I say, dehydrated by the time you got to that 4th match on Sunday, because did 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. And oh my gosh, it was I was so dehydrated by the time of the end of that weekend, tried to put the ring up and the production stuff up. And
yeah, when I was researching for this, I was on your personal YouTube channel and got to see every iteration of the War West Virginia Fall Festival matches you've done over the years. That seems like a time down there.
Oh my gosh, War West Virginia! I tell you, there's so many memories of getting chased by fans with knives and. No, that was Jason Kincaid that got chased by a fan. The guy didn't know it was me because I already took the suit off, but I was chasing him trying to get the knife out of his hand. But war, that was some fun times down there, though. I mean, you did have some good people down there. That's the first place I've ever been booed. I had 2 kids give me a thumbs down booing me as I was going around the ring. I turned around like,
they didn't buy it at all. They did not buy the baby face at all. Those kids hate baseball. They must be soccer players.
Must be. I think that was the match of went against Drake Tungsten on. I think they like Drake. I must have been his kids. Heck, I don't know.
Because he's a pretty established heel, right? It had to be somebody that familiar with his work. That
Drake
loved rooting for heels.
He could be a jerk sometimes, but sometimes.
Yeah, that I think I saw that match. It starts with just a speech from him about how he hated his trip there, and then when he got out of the car, all he could smell was the poverty and incest in the air.
Yeah,
and then the chicken dance comes on. And everybody cheers for Roscoe and raises the roof and brings it up. Yeah, that was theater, man. I loved it.
That is it. Went just the way I wanted it. Go out there and get the crowd pump, except for 2 kids, and jump in the ring. And
you can never please them all.
Oh no. And the worst part was getting hit in the nuggets with the bat. That wasn't too good, but
surely can you outfit yourself with a cup in that outfit?
I should have. I'm just not smart enough to do it sometimes. You know?
I mean, you've got all the access in the world to them, even if it's a hand me down from somebody else, right?
Right? Yeah. That's like that time I went to Rough and Rowdy, and they said the guy didn't have a cup, and he went and borrowed one with somebody, and my kid's like, "Oh, that's kind of disgusting." Like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. You know?
Yeah. Let's talk about Rough and Rowdy. It's another thing like the Appalachian League. Boy, is it changing. I've got my opinions about the way Barstool Sports is running things and portraying the great state of West Virginia and the way they're handling some things. I mean, ultimately, I don't want it to come off as a sort of jealousy, because I guess in a weird world, you know, I am kind of like them. I'm kind of an anti-establishment sports guy, do it yourself. You know, I'm not against any of that, but
right.
Dave Portnoy sure is a love-hate guy, and he's had some pretty off-color things to say about, I guess that's what he's supposed to do, but.
Right. Yeah, he wants that heel roll.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to Little Caesars and give him a 4.3 or whatever he did on this pizza review that time.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you got Angelo's right there. Why don't you go there and try it? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, her name escapes me, but the pizza place in the mall, and they got the other location in downtown Bluefield. They have fantastic pizza.
Portobello's.
Yeah, I love that place. Like, go. You can get great authentic Italian food in West Virginia. I mean,
right?
Just try. Yeah. And then he went down to McDowell and got Fox's Pizza. It's like, dude. Yeah, that whole week had me tore up.
Yeah,
it was great promos to promote his matches, but
right. Yeah.
I guess that, and you've kind of given light to it. Maybe he is just trying to turn it more into professional wrestling, and he's the heel. He's the Vince McMahon of this whole deal.
Right. Yeah. He looked up, where could I find a cardboard pizza in West Virginia, and went to every one of those places.
Yes,
just so he can downgrade it.
Yeah. And, I feel like I wouldn't have the thoughts toward him that I do if he would just do his research too. Like, he goes out of his way to shit talk West Virginia. Like, they were doing a video about betting on college football, and they were talking about Boone, North Carolina, and he was like trying to trash Boone County, West Virginia, just 300 miles from each other, Dave. Like, he always reaches to try and stir the pot again in West Virginia, because he knows it's an easy crowd to piss off.
Right.
Because there's a lot of state pride here. And
you're exactly right.
It's just with the history of Rough and Rowdy, you don't need to change it. I mean, people love it. People are dedicated to that. So my father-in-law fought in it. So that's a video I'm trying to drum up. See, I also think when Barstool bought it, that a lot of those old tapes just disappeared and off into the wild blue, and nobody's seen them. But I would love to track down that early 90s fuzzy television recording of my father-in-law.
Those big camcorders.
Yeah, he made it.
VHS in it.
Yeah, Shane made it to the second round, from what I understand, but then his shoulder popped out, and he wasn't worth nothing after that, and they got him. But had that shoulder not popped out, hear him tell it, he was your champ that year.
Right.
My wife
hear that a lot.
Yeah, my wife has some fond memories of it. She was allowed to stay up late and watch her daddy on TV fighting in the boxing match at her grandma's house. And their home place is right there in Brush Fork, across from the Armory too. So we used to pregame at the house and then walk over there.
Right.
I got so much love for the Rough and Rowdy brawl. Like, talking about war, Bucky Boyd, best promo master of West Virginia.
He sent me a message one time, and it's right before we was going to do the show in war. And, we already had it set up for me to wrestle somebody. And he's like, "No, you're wrestling me. I'm not getting a ring with no Bucky Boyd." Yeah. like I say, that guy's crazy anyway. I could only imagine what he'd do to me while I was in a rooster suit.
Yeah.
But he's out there.
Yeah. he has trouble drawing the line between reality and the fictional world of wrestling, I feel like. But
yeah,
his promos are top notch. There's one where I saw him go into Grant's grocery store and beat the shit out of pork chops, and I was like, this is going to put West Virginia on the map, not for the better, but it's happening now, and he's kind of a viral sensation, or was there on YouTube.
Yeah, not a big Bucky fan. Yeah, when he's in trash talk, I think I ended up having to block him. Just
I feel like, there was always that debate about Bucky is, are they pulling the wool over this guy's eyes, and are the guys running these fighting matches really building it up to him that this is real and this is all something that's not? Because I don't know his full story, but it wouldn't be a stretch to imagine maybe he was a little bit learning disabled or so on and so forth.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those, what they used to say, French fries short of a Happy Meal. But I think, honest to goodness, it's just a box with a toy in it. I don't think it's much up there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. He put all of his energy into growing and not so much learning. I think.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but that's the past of the Rough and Rowdy. It's a different beast now. Mm-hmm. Jose Canseco's fighting in it now. I mean, it's you or I probably can't even sign up for it anymore, and that was the beauty of it, was you could see your neighbor go whip somebody's ass, and now it's
right. Shoot, I wouldn't even sign up for it now. I'm too old,
Yeah. So speaking of all your in-ring training, who did you get that with? Who did you train with and get your wrestling chops up?
Well, if you watch my first match, April 16th of 11, that was my in-ring training.
Okay.
They had the Cuban Assassin. I got the call like in February to do that match, and it was kind of like I sent Cuban a message saying, "Hey, you doing good with WVCW? I like it, whatever." And he sends me a thing, says, "Can I have your number? I want to call you and ask you something." I was like, "Okay." So I sent him a number, and he calls me. He says, "Hey, do you want to wrestle?" I was like, "Huh?" Yeah. What are you talking? And he's telling me the storyline about how he had a boxer. It was supposed to be boxer versus wrestler, and the boxer chickened out. So he's going to wrestle a chicken. So it ended up, we had to work this storyline in. And then the scary part of it, while we're in the middle of doing all this, right? On the 28th of February, I got sick and I got rushed to the hospital. Well, come find out, my appendix was about ready to rupture. Yeah. So they had to take my appendix out on March the 1st. And I thought, I got 6 weeks to try to get ready for this match. And here I had staples and stuff up my belly. All right. So we had planned out. It's like, okay, when do you get your staples out? It's like the next Wednesday. He says, okay, we want to do the contract signing on Saturday. So I went and doctor got my staples out on Wednesday, went Saturday, climbed in a wrestling ring, did a contract signing, jumped out of a wrestling ring, and then had about 3 weeks to get ready for it and talk things over how we want to do it. And we did it. It won match of the year. We won feud of the I'm losing my microphone. We won feud of the year.
I would have put money on me being the one to do that. So you took the pressure off there, Tommy.
There you go. It did that to me one time on the Ramble. I was talking about Daphne, and it went on to heck.
Oh, but, yeah. You mentioned Daphne when I was talking to you the other day. I know where you stand with Daphne.
Oh yeah, I love Daphne. But it was funny. The second match that I wrestled Cuban, I went the morning of to court on my divorce. And then went that night to wrestle Cuban, and it was such a great day. I got to take a lot of frustrations out on him, Yeah, it's so fun.
Talk about one door closing and another one opening.
Oh, and boy, I ran through it because I've been doing it ever since.
That's good. We'll get back to baseball in a minute, but you had when I talked to you Sunday night, you were actually on the road on the way back from a wrestling event. Why don't you talk just a little bit about how your matches have been going in the limited capacity that y'all have been able to do with the pandemic? And because I'm sure it's been a slow couple years as you know, no ball games, very little to no wrestling. I mean, how have you filled your time, and are you happy to be back with it to some extent?
Oh, I'm happy to be back. Like the last time I was in a ring was against Rip Manson in Wars. That was in 19 February or September of 19. So then, you know, I also have this production company that I work with Cody Green, called Just Us Productions, and we go around and do productions for different wrestling companies.
Okay, so you're on the film crew this past trip.
I was on. Okay. Yeah, I was filming this last trip.
You're so busy, it's hard to keep up with every little.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, used to we'd have to go do Premier Wrestling Experience Pure, which is kind of their NXT. We'd go there one weekend. We go to Innovate Pro Wrestling in Kingsport, Tennessee. Then we would have our show in Bluefield, and then go back to Charlotte and do Premier Wrestling Experience again. So, you know, it's like every weekend seemed to be booked. So you was on the road a lot. You know, you just happy to see the WVCW day because you didn't have to drive 3 hours to your show. Right. The only bad part, you had to get there early, put the ring together and all that good stuff. But yeah. Of course, now when that all stopped and it's like, okay, well, I got time off. All right, good. Got time off. All right. Yep. And I mean, that's all it was, is sit here. I had enough time to paint the porch and you know, do some paint scraping and or Dad actually painted the porch. I didn't do it. I just scraped it, and he said, "Oh, I'll paint it." Okay, good. I don't like painting anyway. You do it. Of course, you know, me and my PlayStation got together again, got to play a lot of PlayStation and stuff. So yeah, it was boring, but as soon as we got that first call, you know, to go back and film, boy, we jumped on it. You know, it was great. And what was funny, the last tour we did was with New Japan Pro Wrestling. We got
that's a big name to drop right there.
Oh yeah, we got to do the New Beginning tour, the U.S. Tour, where it started off in St. Petersburg, Florida. Then they went to Nashville, Winston-Salem. Then we caught back up with them. They was having a expedition thing in Charlotte where they trying to see local talent and maybe try to sign some people. So we caught up with them in Charlotte. Then we ended up in Miami on Super Bowl weekend, Thursday of Super Bowl weekend, to film that show down there, and then hit Atlanta at the Coca-Cola Roxy right across from SunTrust Stadium where the Braves play. So we ended up filming there and then coming back, and then did a little spot show on the next weekend, and everything shut down.
Wow.
It was just tough.
Wide open to a full stop.
Right. Like that. And it stopped, and it's so, you know, like I said, it got boring. And when you stay up here alone, of course, my grandmother stays downstairs. Like the house is like a garage apartment. I stay upstairs, and she lives downstairs where she's got a hip replacement and all that good stuff. So, you know, I had to go down, check on her every now and then and feed her and come back up. But yeah, that's the only person you really get to see.
Yeah, that was me for a while too, taking care of my grandpa. He I got a gig not far from his house, and of course he accepted a kind of a roommate situation. He accepted that with open arms. But I've since moved. But that's some of the best years of both our lives. I call him now, and we talk for 4 hours. Just we we try not to miss a beat on it, but I think he would prefer me taking care of him to my mom. She's a little ornerier than I am. I just went with the flow, you know.
Yeah, same here. I know when my mama watches this, and when I say same here, I'm going to hear something about it. So.
Yeah, and this is my mom always takes time to check my show out too. So yeah, you know, they'll always be your biggest fan. You'll catch an earful from them, but they'll still be your biggest fan.
I did a podcast for the guy that's the producer of the show in Charlotte. And, you know, we kind of reminiscing about my wrestling, baseball stuff. And mom listened to it about halfway and turned it off. I says, why you turn it off? She says, I already know all that stuff, you know. Okay. She said, you got bored. And I was like, well, when you lived it with me, you know, you kind of do know a lot of this stuff. So.
Yeah. But it is a heck of a story to tell. I can already tell that, this that we're putting together, I'm going to be going back and listening to this a lot, and we'll have to have you back on because you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be glad to get back on.
This is a blast. Yeah. We were talking about leading up to doing this. We were talking about the Viceland's Rivals documentary, which you know had kind of the theme of, you know, rookie ball is kind of in this, you know, downward trajectory, but midway through the show, Roscoe takes over and is, in my opinion, the high point of the show, because they bring you down a little bit, down. Oh, Mercer County's declining. Everybody's moving away. Nobody's able to come out to the ball games, this and that. You got this great talent here, but nobody's recognized them. And then there's Roscoe doing his thing, air guitaring in the stands, Mr. Henry Belcher hollering, doing his thing. Yeah. That watching that documentary, I get emotional every time I see it, because, you know, that just embodies my childhood. I was an Appalachian League kid running around in these concrete concourses behind the ball field. You know, that was how I was raised, and that hits home with me. And of course, it was narrated by Fernando Perez, who was a Rays guy. What do you remember most about putting that documentary together, and how do you feel about it? How do you feel it's stood the test of time after, you know, the 3-4 years it's been out?
That was probably about the wildest 4 days I ever lived. Yeah, trying to get through all the interviews, the wiring me up to a microphone underneath the spandex and all that good stuff, and driving when you got a camera right here in your face and you got a sound guy in your back seat with a microphone like that, and he's got his earphones. It was wild. It was a good experience. I enjoyed it. It was kind of wild time for me, because it was around the time my grandmother fell and broke her hip, and so she was having the rod put in her hip, and then went over to the rehab center for a couple of weeks. And so I was trying to deal with that, then try to keep Viceland happy, and it just worked out. They worked great with me. I remember the first time they pulled up, they interviewed me in my yard, and they's trying to get where the wind wasn't. We'll just do it inside your house. Like, okay. So to come up the stairs here and gosh, I think they talked for me about 2 hours. I'm thinking, guys, I got a game here, you know, pretty soon. We want to get ready to go to the ballpark. And so we talked, and it was a lot of different things. I don't know if they knew how they was going to approach this story or turn it around. I think they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
It kind of, I threw a joke out there, and I noticed they edited it out when I was walking across the parking lot, because I had my backpack on me. And the one guy's like, hey, he says, where'd you get that backpack? I says, my ex-wife got it for me when we first got married, you know, and had mom put the Roscoe stuff on it for me. And I said, yeah, it's the best thing I got out of the marriage. And they cut the ex-wife joke out because it was like I was saying it as I just crossed where they have the big railings that cuts the parking lot off. I was saying it right when, and I noticed it goes from me walking the parking lot to me walking into the stadium. I was like, they cut my ex-wife joke out. Yeah. So
that's about the last scene of the show.
Yeah.
And man, that would have been the cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, they cut it out.
Now you got to come to my pitiful show to hear that joke. It's just too bad.
Hey, but at least it's getting out. That's the main thing. It's getting out. Yeah. I was trying to wing. I can't talk a lot bad about the ex-wife. She was nice, but she ex for a reason. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, they cut my joke out, and there at one point I was like, dudes, I'm getting ready to get naked. So, you probably want to step out of here and let me put my spandex on, then you do what you need to do. And so they come, like I said, fill me up all these wires and a wireless box. I was afraid to bump into anything because I know how much those things cost.
Yeah. That's no joke. It's high production level. You can tell that it did some time on TV because it's top notch.
The one guy that helped produce that, his name's MJ Grogan, and they did 2 seasons of Rivals, and then they ended up cutting it off. And MJ said at the last show that they aired, said the highest rated show was the Mercer Cup one. So that's the most watched show out of 2 seasons of Rivals that they aired was the Mercer Cup show. It kind of makes me proud because I was scared to death. I was like, okay, I wasn't, you get the thought in your head, maybe I wasn't good enough. I kept saying, well, am I a part of the show? It's like, dude, you're one of the stars. I was like, hey, no way. It's like, no.
Yeah, I agree. That was my impression, was that it just added so much because they really could have doom and gloomed you to death.
Right.
With, the way they were talking about how rookie ball was, the first step of 6 up to the big leagues, and a roundabout way being nice to say, there's nowhere to go but up from Mercer County.
Right.
But, I like the angle about all the, guys learning English for the first time, and the Applebee's scene where they're teaching the one player what a mozzarella stick is. There was a lot of little funny moments, but then it goes full bore when Roscoe hits, and it just it changes everything, in my opinion.
Well, I appreciate. Yeah, that, like I said, it was a lot of fun. A lot of paperwork had to be signed because you had to sign off that they could use my name. Had to sign off they could use video of my house, and I mean it was so much legal stuff, legal hoops you had jumped, but I mean it was worth it. The time I got to watch it, because when it aired, this was funny. When it aired, I was on the road to Orlando to WrestleMania, so I had to watch it through my phone.
All that leading up to just watching this, pixelated, it goes out, you wait 20 minutes.
Right.
That's how it always goes.
All right. But luckily I had the DVR set and I recorded it, and I've got it on my laptop on a backup file, so I can go back and reminisce every now and then. And
yeah, it was well done. I mean, they really could have made a series just out of that. I mean, that's an entire season when you do all 10 Appalachian League teams, and each one probably has a story just like that. It's just y'all's happened to have gotten told that time.
Right.
So I'm thankful to have that. It's kind of a time capsule now. All the teams are changing, but that was kind of that moment in time, and they captured it great, I thought.
Right.
They got Henry right before he passed away.
Right.
A lot of the the old folks there at the Princeton game. I'm not sure if all of them are still there, but the regulars. I'm sure
Right.
we've lost a few of them since then, and
Yes.
that age group of baseball fans, I feel like was really special.
Right.
So
And
I'm glad that's there.
yeah, that's what saddens me is you see all of these passing away, and it's so hard now to try to get new fans in. You know, not to say to replace them or whatever, but it's just hard to draw fans in, and you see all these, like I said, leaving to go to a better place, but it's just that void.
Yeah. Now, this I don't want this to come off as too critical of a take, but I felt like when I lived in Mercer County, I was baseball spoiled, and now
Mhm.
that I've moved away, I just didn't realize what I had till it was gone. I mean, you think about there's roughly declining, but 60,000 people in Mercer County, so that's 30,000 per minor league team in the county. That's got to be the lowest number of anywhere.
Right.
And then you got the 3 colleges, so there's a college
Mhm.
team for every 20,000, give or take. And
Right.
then that's not to mention the 4 high schools, people going to those games. Mercer County, if you want to catch a ball game, you could, from March to September, you could get to a game every day if you wanted to.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you could go broke doing it real easy too, which I
Oh,
think is the real reason. But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think it's just a little bit baseball spoiled, and that's what makes it what it is. Because I miss it. I mean, if I get a chance to go back, I'm going to be tickled to death with how much baseball I'm going to see. Because I'm
Right.
in Hardy County, West Virginia, which no college, obviously no minor league teams up this way in West Virginia. They put all their eggs in the high school basket. Thankfully, our high school team's good, or it'd just be completely depressing. But
Right.
it's different. It's real
That is.
different.
It
So
is.
be thankful for what you got, but at the same time, uh, it's I don't see any other towns that the model would necessarily thrive in that area either. It's already in
Right.
the biggest ones. So it is what it is. Um, yeah, I would like to see a minor league team in Whitful again. It's been like 35 years.
Oh, it's been a long time. Yeah, I think since what the Braves left there, was the Braves there or the Cubs? Cubs were there
Cubs were the
because
last one.
they went to Huntington.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think I was 3 years old when that happened. So I don't
Hmm.
I don't recall I don't recall a minor league team ever in Whitful. We mainly went to Bluefield Blue Jays and Pulaski. Shoot, what were they at the time? Probably the Rangers.
Rangers. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was during your heyday with the early Devil Rays. But
Oh Lord, yeah. The wooden bleachers and that one dugout, they put a water on top of this concrete slab, and you had to reach up get a cup of water. Yeah, it's kind of
they,
wild.
they have upgraded HP Honeycutt quite a bit. It's
Oh yeah, we didn't know when they's going to demolish old Honeycutt, right? So I just happened to be at the field one Friday and hear all the Princeton Tiger crowd coming to watch a Princeton high school football game. And right behind them was dozers coming in HP Honeycutt. And
wow.
everybody that was on the Princeton Tiger side getting ready to watch a football game got to watch HP Honeycutt get destroyed. And I'm standing on
Wow.
the pitcher's mound. Yeah.
Talk about talk about a halftime show. That
Yeah. Yeah. That
you,
was,
you don't have to book a musical act for that. My
no,
goodness. And then
no, it was,
then everybody got to breathe dust the rest of the game too.
right. Yeah. I mean, it was plumb wild. I remember they had this one picture. You had the bucket going down in the middle of the dugout, and that dugout was like blue, and it had purple and green Princeton written across of it. And I just remember seeing that go right through that and tearing it all to pieces. And it's like, okay, goodbye. No more wooden bleachers.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the stadium y'all are working with now. It's
Mhm.
it's a great place to go see a ball game. And How do you think things will be different this year with, all the changes with the Appalachian League? You think it'll have the same feel, or do you think it's, dropping down to college wood bat? I guess, do you think that'll change within the community, or you think they'll be out no matter what?
I believe your diehards will be there. Um, the feel, it's going to feel funny because, you get on the microphone and say Princeton raised for the last 20 plus years, and now you're going to have to say Princeton Whistlepigs. That's, it's going to be odd.
There's going to be a few slip ups.
A few slip ups. One time, hey, no kidding. And 2019, the PA guy couldn't be there, so I had to be the PA guy. So everybody's like, "Where's Roscoe?" Oh, wait, is that him on PA? And I slipped up and said Princeton Reds. I mean, it's been 20 some years since we've been to Reds. I slipped up and said the Princeton Reds. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be weird. I feel like with baseball quality, I think it's going to get better. And I explained this at the press conference before the announcing. A guy from WOAY Channel 4 was there sitting next to me, and I had my camera because I was setting up the camera for the Princeton Baseball Association so we could show the press conference later. And I had Mom over here doing the Facebook Live for me. So we're sitting at the table, and he says, "You think it's going to be better baseball?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And he says, "Why you think that?" I says, "Well, you think about it." I said, "You had these players that's coming in, and they were professional baseball players. They got their money. They're not going to try as hard. I don't feel like a lot of them, hey, I got the money, I'm just going to instantly move up and be okay." And some of them learn the hard way. No, you're not, and get cut. Because at this level, in 1997, at this level, only 4% of Appalachian League players were making it to the majors. And I don't think it got to these guys. You got a lot of high school guys just graduate, sign for the money, and they're, hey, we're just here for the money and play. Some of them aren't like that, but that's the majority of them.
Yeah.
When you go into this wooden bat college league, okay, they're going to go out there. They said, hey, we're going to go find the best college players that we could find and bring them in, put them in a draft and divvy it up, and then have them go play ball. These kids are not going to get paid. These kids are going to bust their rear ends to try to get to that level to where they're going to get drafted and get paid. Mm-hmm. And they're college level kids, honestly, because it's night and day from get drafted from high school to having a college kid. The whole time when we first started with the Rays, it's like, thank God for the Gulf Coast League, because you'd send the high school kids to Gulf Coast and they would mature a little bit before they'd send them to Princeton.
Yeah.
Then they cut out Gulf Coast League and you get what we had in 99, which that's the funny part. You had a lot of high school kids in 99. They were immature. Mm. They wrecked the clubhouse a lot. Yeah, because I had to clean up after them. That was the year I was a clubhouse manager. I had to clean up after them. And Hindu helped me out on one thing. That's another story. But they was so immature, and it was the team with at one point, I think it probably went maybe 15 years, had the worst record in Princeton. But it was the team that had the most major league guys come out of it. So, I mean, it is kind of weird how that worked out. But my feeling, like I said, you're going to have better baseball. It's going to be faster paced because these kids has already played college ball a little bit before they come here. Mm-hmm. And they're going to try to get drafted. They're going to try to make it to the next level.
They're going to be in, peak performance mode too, because the college season has already been going for a month or more now. They're going to be in shape, ready to roll. There won't be any, now that I've heard you put it that way, I totally agree, because these guys, there's not going to be any, beginning of the season type slump from where they're just shaking off the dust from sitting on the couch.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
gonna jump right in.
They're going to jump right in, and they're going to be ready for when that amateur draft hits. And it's going to be something. I mean, it's like I said, I believe it's going to be faster paced, better baseball than what you've seen in the Appalachian League. And I hate to say that because, that was professional ball that we had.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It goes to show how much college ball has grown over the past few years too. I think the pace of play in college is way further along than it used to be. And, you're slowly seeing college players take over the first few rounds of the draft completely, as opposed to high school kids, because there's less risk because of their experience.
Right.
So I like that. I like to see the players who have at least attempted to get their education. I feel like they come to the majors more well-rounded that way.
Mm-hmm.
And you weed out some of the non-quality individuals that way, I'm sure too. So
oh yeah what I used to call the roster fillers, and that's not knocking them, but that's the reason you get some of these guys is to fill that spot.
What do you recall about the days? I feel like this ended in 2015 because I always made a joke about it. I just missed it because I moved to Bluefield, I think in early 2016. But the open tryouts that the Appy League would hold.
Oh,
man.
man.
And I feel like it was just ceremonial and very few people ever made the team. But do you have any good stories about that? Because I always made the joke about, man, I'm gonna go. It's Appy League day. Here I go. And I never went because I was a high school pitcher, but I blew my arm out and had it. I've got binder clips in my shoulder and that whole
right.
Nine. So I was kind of like a Greg Maddux type. I would never wow you with my speed, but I guess I was still one of the hardest throwers on the team because it was single A Virginia ball.
Right.
So they were trying to groom me to be Billy Wagner, and I was not Billy Wagner. So I'd come in and close and throw harder than I had any business throwing and knock myself out of the game.
Right.
But I always said, yeah, I'm going to get my arm back in shape. I'm going to go show them what I got. I don't have the fastball anymore, but I'm going to learn the knuckler or something. I'm going to show up 32 years old, beer gut, and still make a career out of it. Never happened, and they stopped doing open tryouts. But
some of us are 42 years old and still think they could do it too. That's why you play softball and you realize sometimes
I'm conceding. I'm giving up the dream. I'm starting my career as a little league manager here in a couple of weeks, so that'll be enough baseball for me.
Congratulations! Yeah, that's fun. I coached a girls softball team one time. I think I did 2 seasons, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna go play softball in Beckley. So that's what I ended up doing. But like the tryout thing. Only thing I remember about the tryout things, I went, set up the field, and went back to the clubhouse because I wasn't gonna watch it.
Was did the rest of the staff, did the coaching staff have to be on hand, or was it kind of one of those things? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Or I would think it's so low priority that I would assume they would just like set up a video camera and go eat lunch or something.
Yeah. We'd order Domino's, have it delivered, and sit back and eat. Somebody should go check on them. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know of, I feel like this would be a great talking point for the show, but do you know of anybody that ever made it from that tryout process to a roster or even to the next level past Appy League?
The only one that really sticks out in my mind, and that's because he was already drafted and actually came to it to see if he wanted to sign with the Rays, was Seth McClung.
Okay.
Because he was drafted and he didn't sign for a couple weeks.
Right.
And we ended up in our this was in '99. We ended up opening in Bluefield. And I remember I was going up that rampway there in Bluefield,
Uh-huh.
and this big, tall, redhead kid stopped me because he seen I had a Devil Rays shirt on. He says, "Hey, do you work with the Devil Rays?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm the equipment manager." He says, "Well, I'm Seth McClung." And I'm like, "Well, why hadn't you signed yet?" And I think they ended up right after that Bluefield series coming in, talking to him, and then he ended up signing. And of course, Seth is went and pitched big league ball for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah,
I think he had some stints with the Rangers and a little bit of Pirates.
That's why I was glancing away. I was looking at what his career actually looked like. And Big Red, yeah, he was with the Rays 03, 04, 05, 06. And then Brewers from 07 to 09. And I'm not sure how this made the cut for the article, but he played for the Uni-President 7-Eleven Lions in China 2 years after that.
Yeah. He now lives in Seminole, Florida, and I think it's Seminole. I know it's near Hillsborough County, Hillsborough, Pinellas County there. He's got a school, Big Red Baseball, and he does a lot of Florida Prospect League or High School Prospect League or something, and he does a lot of coaching there. But I see his videos every now and then, and thinking
that's super cool.
We used to be teammates once time there, Big Red,
Yeah, well, I appreciate you putting to rest my theories about the open tryouts, and I'm glad I'm not losing any sleep over not making it.
Oh no, that was the biggest joke.
Because I would have. I feel like if I hadn't have been humbled so early in my baseball career, I would have been one of those guys. I would have made a tour of all 10 Appy League teams and just embarrassed myself all over Tennessee and Virginia and West Virginia and
right.
North Carolina. So
yeah, it was like I said, the only thing I remember, I'd set the field up and I'd go back and wash some more towels or vacuum a carpet or something. I wasn't interested, and I don't think anybody else was.
Yeah, I mean I guess that was just kind of a relic thing that they kept around longer than any other league, because that was the only one I knew of that even fooled with that for the longest time.
Right.
Maybe like the Pioneer League or somebody out west, but
right.
You didn't even hear that in the Gulf Coast League,
No, shoot, GCL, shoot, they'd get up and play at 11 o'clock in the morning, call it a day, and here it's like 105 degrees and you sucking wind, and that's when we wore black jerseys. That was awful.
Yeah,
dude.
that was early Devil Rays with Devil still on the name and the black jerseys. Right?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was those were the days there. I had to wear all that black junk.
Yeah. I really enjoy the navy and white rebrand. It's simple and effective. I mean that, and I don't think I really realized until I saw them in the World Series this past year, but I was like, man, that's the sharpest team out there tonight. I find any excuse to hate the Dodgers, but I was pulling hard for them and they about did it. So
right. The only bright spot of the Dodgers winning the World Series is Ron Porterfield is with the Dodgers, and we was together in '99 when he was with the Rays. And Ron's a sweetheart. I love Ron to death. His wife Barbara, real good buddy, and it was good to see him get a World Series ring. But the rest of it is, I'm like you.
Yeah, I'm glad he got him one. Good for Ron. I'm glad there's a bright spot. I'm having trouble finding one. Let me pick your brain on this. Do you think we'll have a rematch this year for the World Series? Do you think both teams have what it takes to get to that point again?
Dodgers is going to have to compete with San Diego. San Diego's been doing a lot. They're building up that ball club pretty good. So it's going to be between those two, in my opinion. The Rays, where we lost Blake over to the Padres.
Yeah.
And you bring back Chris Archer. I don't know if Chris Archer's got in the gas tank or not, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. So I think if you keep that core together, especially, oh man, my mind slipped. A little first baseman, the Korean, yeah, keep Woo and Kiermaier, keep him healthy. Yeah, it should be good things to come.
Yeah. You hear about the farm system, and you were a part of it for a few years of those rankings. The past 4 or 5 years, the Rays have always been number one in the minors.
Right.
And I'm sure you came from a time as a fresh team that they weren't that at all. So has it been something you could feel? Have you noticed the quality of the players gradually increase as management has continually made good decisions and
Right. Well, it was funny because the first 3 years with the Devil Rays, you've seen a lot of the stronger prospects because they started drafting some higher picks where you was bad, so you get the number one pick. I remember being in the war room the day we drafted Josh Hamilton. Yeah, Josh was going to be our big star. It was between Josh Hamilton and Josh Beckett. Yeah, do we want a strong pitcher or a strong hitter? They went with the strong pitcher. Marlins got Beckett, and Marlins won the World Series in 2004 with Beckett. So, know where we should have went there. But no, not knocking Josh. I mean, Josh is a great ball player. Or Hamilton.
We pulled it was my first podcast show I tried to do with my buddy Jeremy. We pulled a Josh Hamilton rookie from that year, and that was cool to see. He left his box of cards here. I guess we're going to be opening a lot more here soon. But I'll have to send you some of them rookie Rays that appear in that set.
Yeah, you have the 99 card set.
Yes.
My card is in that.
It is.
My card is in the 99 set. Yeah.
Which was it? Team best rookies?
Now this was the team set for the Rays, the Princeton Rays.
Okay. Yeah, so, we'll get a hold of that. My buddy Jeremy, he's a card wizard. He'll be able to. He does a lot of the breaks where they'll buy the full set and then somebody speaks up for a certain team and opens it in hopes of getting a certain card or this or that.
Right.
We'll track down the 99 Rays.
Okay. Yeah. You'll have to find my card with me. It was me and Steve Moomow. I think he ended up quitting and becoming a driver's ed teacher. Bobby Ramos, last time I heard he's with the Florida Marlins or the Miami Marlins. I'm sorry. Mike Tozar, last time I seen him was with the Mariners, and Matt Lucero, who's the head trainer for the Texas Rangers now. And then me, I stuck to be a Rooster. So, everybody else went to do other things. I stayed on as a Rooster.
Hey, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
They don't see their family every day. That's
right.
That's got a value. You can't or it doesn't. You can't really put a price tag on it. So
right.
I think it, as you said, it all works out for a reason. It's but it's been a wild ride, but it's like I said, especially the first 3 years, you've seen a lot of good talent. And I remember hearing Vince DeMolay talk at one time. He's like, he wanted to start where he built the minor league system up. So then later on, hey, I've got all these homegrown kids and they were good. But he had so many different stockholders like, hey, let's go get Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs, 2 seasons. Let's go get Jose Canseco, Fred McGriff. You spent a lot of money on a lot of players that stayed, maximum of 3 seasons. Yeah.
And it's hard to build that way. And the Marlins, they built that. Well, even the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks built and won a World Series way before.
Yeah, rather quickly. It seemed like they got that jacuzzi built out in center field, and next thing you know, they were in the playoffs. I mean, it was just bang, bang, bang.
Right.
You make the right move and get the big unit, and you're a contender all of a sudden.
Right. And our jacuzzi is full of actual devil rays in the thing, swimming around in the pool. So
that I got to thank the Rays organization for that. That single-handedly got my stepson into. He's a big time gamer, but he didn't fool with baseball games until he found out that he could hit a home run into that Ray tank. And he always plays as the Rays without fail. And he is since then he has started watching some baseball with me. Are they in Tampa Bay? Let's check that out. So
right.
I think he's a Rays fan.
Well, that's good.
So we're raising him up young. One of my if it's not my first memory with him was there at HP Honeycutt Field, Princeton Rays game. It was like our first I guess, prospective dad at the time and son trip. We went by ourselves. I think his mama was working, and it was a Rays and Jays game under the lights. And he was amazed by you, but he also had this irrational fear of people in suits.
Right.
So it was like 4 or 5 trips of him saying he needed to go to the bathroom or saying he wanted to go to the concession stand. And really, he was checking you out, buddy. He was scoping you out, measuring you up. And then we'd get over to you and say, all right, go talk to Roscoe. And he'd be hiding behind me or going to hide behind, a trash can or
right.
It was best night of our lives, I think, man. And you were cool. A part of that. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate that story. That's cool.
Yeah, you tried like hell to get him to talk to you. He was just a little fella. He was 3 then. I think that was the 2016 season.
Right.
But
oh man,
I don't remember who won that game, but I will always remember that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You talk about people hiding from it. There one preacher guy, and honest goodness, he's got to be passed by now, but he had to be in his 80s. And every time I'd come around, he would go down and he would wait at the concession stand till he felt like I was gone. He was scared of me for some reason. Huh. And these 2 guys that was sitting in front of him says, why you think he does that? I says, he's a preacher man. They said, well, what's that guy doing? I said, Sunday dinner is coming back catching up with him. But I tried everything to try to sneak around. He'd see me, he'd jump out of that chair and just run down the steps. And I think I did that maybe 10 seasons, and something's happened, and he's
not out at the Rays games.
Yeah.
It shows that it was a fear, but it was still enough that he loved being at the ball game that he was there consistently.
Right.
That's interesting. I don't know anything religious that would steer you necessarily against mascots. So maybe it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, maybe, or he didn't like getting talked to by, like I said, a rooster. He's planning to eat on Sunday. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. That we may never know on that one.
That's the truth. Mm-mm.
Well, I believe I've pretty much exhausted my questions. You got anything else for us as far as new Appalachian League or just anything you want to add? I'm sure if you're willing, we'll have you on again because I've had a blast.
Yeah. I'll have to think of some of the wild stories that I've had, especially my St. Pete days and up here. But yeah, I mean, I've had a great time at the. Yeah, I'm just ready to get this thing kicked off, get it going, see how it's going to end up. June 3rd, it's just like it can't get here fast enough. So
yeah, and you guys get a little break for the draft too, don't you? Since they're prospects, don't they? I guess it's halfway through the season. I heard they're moving the draft back a little bit so these boys have a chance to be scouted before they potentially get their name called.
Right, I think it's like a 3 or 4 day break or somewhere that they do that, and then I think
probably lines up with the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we have an All-Star. That's what's so crazy about this league now. We get an All-Star game now.
That's great,
and I think it's going to be televised on MLB TV. So it's going to be interesting on how all this is going to transpire. The only thing that really bothers me, when it was professional and we worked hard to get the playoffs extended, the extra series, and then go into had the 3-game series for the division, then a 3-game series for the playoff. Now they take the top 2 teams have 1-game playoff. And I mean,
it's tough to build the drama of the postseason in such a small sample size.
You know, if you're fighting a close race in one of those, and you're going to have to use your top pitching, and then go out and plumb lose a championship game because you fought for that spot with your pitching, and you don't have anything left.
That's going to be a heartbreaker.
Oh, that's going to be wild, man. It's like I say, it's going to be a heartbreaker. But
what's that about? Just a concern to overplay those guys that are about to get turned back over to their college team, or
right?
Okay.
Yeah, just to get ready to send them back to college, because I think that playoff game, if I can remember in my head right, it's like August 8th.
Okay.
So you do that, the season's over, and
that sounds like the week before college move-in week. So it's all meticulously mapped out for us. I see.
Yep.
Well, thank you a bunch, Tommy, aka Roscoe. Shout out to your production company, Just Us Productions. Shout out to Princeton Whistlepigs. Appalachian League legend on the show. I'm just really pleased with how this turned out, man. Thank you.
I am too. I've enjoyed every second of it. Like I said, we're going to have to do this again. Yeah. I don't get to talk like this that much. I usually get cut off when I'm on the other show, because you got 4 other people trying to talk on top of you, and just kind of go like, okay, when you going to shut up and let me talk? Yeah. So I have really enjoyed this, Jake. As you don't know how much I've enjoyed this. But
yeah, man, well,
it's been great.
We'll get it going. I've got an Appalachian League preview type video I'm working on now, and that should come out in conjunction with this video. So this week's going to be my Appalachian League week. It's all I'm going to talk about. So trying to bring some awareness to the league. It's near and dear to my heart. Same with you. So we'll see what we can do. We'll try and get some butts in seats for these college kids.
I love it. Yeah, because I've been doing this league since 1994. And there's times I feel every year of it through this body doing everything, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
From field crew to clubhouse managing, did front office there a little bit. It's been a haul for 25 plus years. I think it was 26 seasons. It's been a ride.
Well, hey, just keep soaking it up, man. You're living a lot of people's dream.
Oh yeah, I'm loving it. So I'll keep doing it as long as my body will allow me.
All right. Well, take care, man.
All right. You too, bud.